Hi everyone, this is Aaron for zollotech, and we're going to compare the Samsung Galaxy S3 with the iPhone 4S. Now the new iPhone should be out hopefully in a couple months, but right now these are the top of both of their OSs, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Let's first talk about specs. Obviously the Galaxy S3 phone is much larger. This is actually the Verizon variant. It's 4G LTE. But the screen is much larger, as you can see. So we have a 3.5-inch Retina display, 960 by 640 here. Over here we have a 4.8-inch HD Super AMOLED 1280 by 720 display. Both really nice screens. This is full HD, well, half HD 720p, and we have a Retina display here. They both look really nice, but we'll go into that a little more in a moment. So we have a 4G phone. We also have HSPA variants. This is HSPA Plus and no LTE yet, so we have kind of pseudo 4G. And let's go ahead and turn them on. So you can see I have these set on automatic brightness right now. We'll turn them up in a moment. So the phones, weight-wise, we have 133 grams here, 140 grams here. The iPhone's actually a little bit heavier, even though it's smaller. It's made more of metal than plastic that we have here. We have iOS 6 actually on this phone, but iOS 5 is currently out. And then we have Android 4.0 with TouchWiz on this phone, Ice Cream Sandwich. We have a front-facing camera, VGA, less than 1 megapixel on this particular device, the 4S. And we have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera on the Galaxy S3. We have an 8 megapixel camera on both of them on the back, and they both have a flash. So let's go ahead and take a look at the front so you can see there's the front cameras. On the back, there's the back cameras, speaker here, flash. On the bottom, we have our dock connector, speaker, microphone, and micro USB microphone. On this side, we have our SIM card tray. Right here, we have our sleep-wake power button. On the top, we have a 3.5 millimeter jack on both for your headphones, and then we have a little noise canceling mic here, as we do here, and the power sleep wake button for the iPhone is on the top. We have volume buttons, rocker on the S3, and button up and down and vibrate switch on the iPhone 4S. We both have a home button, as you can see, and we have our speaker earphone, and we have proximity sensors as well. Both phones are pretty fast. We have dual 1 gigahertz or so dual-core A9 processor in the iPhone 4S, where we have a 1.4 gigahertz dual-core, 1.4 gigahertz quad-core, or dual-core, depending on which phone you have. You can get 16, 32, or 64 gigabyte variants in both, but you also have the added possibility for storage on the Galaxy S3 in the form of a micro SD card here up to 32 gigabytes. We have a micro SIM in the back along with our battery. The removable battery is actually pretty big, and it's 2100 milliamp hours in the S3, where it's 1420 in the iPhone 4S. That gives us 6 to 7 hours of web browsing time in the iPhone 4S, where it gives us 8 hours in the Galaxy S3. And my experience has been that the S3 actually lasts a long time on battery. We both have Siri on, or similar things to Siri. We have S-Voice on the S3 and Siri. We have a price of about $200 on both. It depends where you get them. So $749 unlocked for the 4S or $799 unlocked on the S3. You'll be able to get a developer version for about $600 soon. We have pretty much every carrier for both devices. Now, each phone is really nice. They are both very different in the hands. You can see they're actually huge. My hands are quite large, but this phone's actually huge, but fits nicely in your hand because of the curved back. Now, with a case on, it's obviously going to change a little bit. Now, we'll go ahead and unlock this, and we'll turn the screen brightness up. So we'll pull down, and we'll go to screen brightness, wherever the display is. Here we go. Display. This will give you a little feel for the interface. Turn off automatic brightness, and we're all the way up. If we do the same on the iPhone, it looks similar. We go here, we go to brightness, auto off, and turn the brightness all the way up. So you can see both. These are the default home screens. I have my apps arranged on the iPhone a little bit differently, obviously, because they're apps. And then you have apps and widgets on the Galaxy S3. Now, as far as the touchscreen goes, the S3 really nails it as far as touch sensitivity. It feels pretty much the same. It's probably very hard to distinguish between the two. You can see it's a very warm 98 degrees. We've got our widgets. We actually have to go into the temperature app to do that, or the weather app to do that on the iPhone. A little bit of difference in the OS. We're not really going to compare the OS, but while we do have TouchWiz with Android 4, we will check out S-Voice and things like that. But let's go ahead and you can see it's very smooth, just like the iPhone. Let's go to the browser, tap on Zollotech. Now, one is on 4G, one is on Wi-Fi. Let's see how they do. You can see actually the Wi-Fi one is loading a little bit slower. They're about the same. So as far as smoothness goes, while they feel a little bit different, they're not that different. If we pinch to zoom, they're pretty much the same. Slightly different just in the browser itself, but you can see everything's really quick and quite nice. So that's the overall browser speed, and that's on 4G. I actually get faster 4G speed in this area than I have for Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing. 27 by 17 is about what I get when I do a speed test. Now, as far as benchmarks go, the S3 blows everything else away. But let's go ahead and take a look at the cameras and see what they're capable of. We'll do a couple pictures, and then I'll show you the camera in motion to show you kind of the stabilization. Let's take a look at that now. Now, actual usability of the phones is both very good. The S3 feels really good in the hand. It actually feels more solid than I've seen in other reviews. While the whole thing really is plastic and you don't see a whole lot of metal supporting in here, it does feel solid. Most people I've handed it to say that it's solid. A few say that it feels cheap and plasticky, and that's really to do based on the back. It's really thin plastic. It bends very easily, and it's easily replaceable, which is nice and easy to get to batteries, but does add to the feel of the phone in that way. The iPhone feels solid as always. It's glass all the way around and metal, so it does have a very solid feel to it. It's a little bit heavier, and that way it feels a little more high quality in that sense. The button on the iPhone is nicer. The button here, for some reason, is just really very weak, and it feels like it's flimsy. It rocks back and forth a little bit. Now, as far as overall use goes, the phone feels good. The screen is Gorilla Glass on this particular phone, and actually feels like it rolls off the side a little bit, as opposed to coming to a hard edge like the Galaxy Nexus does. So you can see they both look great. You either like iOS or you like Android. So as far as that goes, you'll definitely want to consider that, obviously. But when we talk about some of the added features we can do with both of them, such as Siri or S-Voice, let's go ahead and take a look and see how they both compare. To get to Siri, we hold the button and we'll ask it what the weather is. What is the weather outside?
Okay, here's the weather through Sunday.
So you can see it gives the little diagram of what the temperature is. Let's try that on S-Voice. What is the weather outside? So you can see it gave us the weather, very quick results. Let's go ahead and see what the humidity is. What is the humidity outside? So you can see it didn't do a very good job there. I don't think the iPhone will do that either, but let's try it anyway. What is the humidity outside?
The humidity index is currently 37%.
Okay, so that actually did work. How about we ask it something that's in iOS 6, such as sports scores? Who won the last Yankees game?
The Yankees outdid the Blue Jays by a score of 6-3 yesterday.
So let's try that with S voice. Who won the last Yankees game? And we'll wait for it here.
I'm sorry, I don't have the answer. Would you like to search the web?
So you can see they're both a little bit different in what they do. If we hit this little button here, it will let me see what I can actually find. I can find local listings, weather, set a timer. There's a driving mode on and off, record voice, tasks, memos, navigate, things like that. So you can do many of the things you can do on Siri, but a few of the things are hit and miss here and there. Both are very good services. I tend to like the voice actually a little bit better on the iPhone. It's a little creepy on the Galaxy S3, in my opinion, with S Voice. Overall, though, it's neat the things you can actually do a little bit more with the S Voice function as well. So let's go back and go home. Now, if there's a few things that I noticed between the two phones that might differentiate them other than their OS, you do have a back button and a menu or home button here. So if I hit this button, you can see there's a little menu that comes up. There's also a back button here. I don't know if you can see it under these lights, but it actually lights up when you touch the screen. That's good and bad, as it's a little annoying you can't see them. And the back button is actually on the right instead of the left. I prefer it on the left on many of the Android phones, but for whatever reason they've decided to put it there. We do have a task killer as well. If we hold the home button, we can remove all, and we can just shut them one by one. We can kind of do that with the iPhone, as you may know, if you double tap the home button and then hold, and you have to kill them one individually. So it takes a while to go through all of them. The battery life, though, is one of the number one questions I get asked between the two. I actually get a little better battery life on the S3. In fact, if you see the battery here on the S3, it's yellow. And we can go into the actual battery stats here. And you can see it's been in standby for a while, but it's been discharging for 1 day, 8 hours, and 46 minutes. I haven't charged it for that long. Let's see if we can see any stats here. I don't know that we can. We'll turn the battery percentage on, and we're at 37%. This was fully charged this morning. Now, in its defense, I did watch some videos on it this morning. I actually watched a couple videos throughout the day, or let it run, and played some music. So it did take down the battery a little bit. But overall, the Galaxy S3 really impresses me as far as its battery goes. And it is a larger battery, so it should last a little bit longer, but it does have a bigger screen to control. Now, as far as call reception between the two, I find they're about equal. They seem to be about the same. The keyboards are very similar or the same, and we have a lot of different options on the S3 that you can't do on the iPhone 4S. You can do picture-in-picture video, although I find that to be kind of impractical. We do have pretty much the same apps between both of them, although the iPhone does have a few more apps overall. But that doesn't mean you're probably not going to find what you want on Android. There's definitely just as many good apps, in my opinion, on the Android side as there is with the iPhone. It's just maybe something different. Overall, I think you'd be happy with each phone depending on which one you go with. I would obviously wait maybe for the next iPhone, and we'll take a look at that when it comes out. But as far as an Android phone, this is definitely the phone to beat right now. You saw the pictures, and you see how fast it is. It's just as fast, if not faster, than any other phone I've used. So I definitely recommend either phone, and I currently use an iPhone myself and switch between that and the Galaxy Nexus with Jelly Bean on it as a test phone. But I definitely like the S3 an awful lot. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.